Alrighty, yes, this is indeed a breaking story that we have here. It's really fucking exciting, and it really, honestly, it caught me off guard, because I just kind of got this notification, but this is really awesome, and it's really important. So, you guys may not know, but the Senate Democrats specifically, they had forced a revote. They had forced a revote on net neutrality because basically the FCC decided to gut the protections for net neutrality because of a GPI. Now, when the Senate Democrats forced a vote, the Senate voted, and they have voted to reinstate the net neutrality rules. Now, the problem is that it's going to have to go through the House as well. But this is the first step through, and we have passed the first step and the first barrier, and this is really exciting, and it's really awesome. So here's what the Hill says. They say, the Senate on Wednesday voted to reinstate the FCC's net neutrality rules, passing a bill that has little chance of advancing in the House, but offers net neutrality supporters and Democrats a political rallying point for the midterm elections. Democrats were able to force Wednesday's vote using an obscure legislative tool known as the Congressional Review Act, CRA. CRA bills allow Congress with the majority vote in each chamber and the president's signature to overturn recent agency moves. They argue that without the Federal Communications Commission's net neutrality regulations, which require internet service providers to treat all web traffic equally, companies such as Verizon and Comcast will be free to discriminate against certain content or boost their partner websites. So, it says the bill will have a much harder time in the House, where Democrats would need 25 Republicans to cross the aisle in order to bring it up for a vote. So, here's the thing. This article itself is stating it extremely pessimistically, but we need to look at this with massive glee and happiness, because this gives us a chance. We finally have a fucking chance. Do you see what I'm saying? So prior to this, there was no hope. It's, okay, we now have to wait until the 2020 election, and then we have to replace the president, because then we'll get a majority in the FCC of Democrats. That's our next hope. But now we have a chance. We have a chance now. Now what we can do is we can spam and call up all the Republicans in the House and say, motherfucker, you better vote yes on this net neutrality bill to restore and save net neutrality, because this is extremely important and vital. Yes, I said vital for our nation, a society, to be able to have a free net that is fair. That is fair. So there have been the problem with this issue is that a lot of people don't understand the internet or the inner workings of how the internet works. You know, most people don't know about megabits per second, etc., etc. But one of the most common misconceptions is the idea that net neutrality is saying that everything has to arrive at the same time, even though streaming a video or a movie takes more bandwidth than does reading an article. But that's false. That's completely false. And I want to break that real quick, because I know a lot of people think that, especially right-wingers, of course. So they think that you take a movie that's, you know, whatever, a gigabyte in size, let's say, or 700 megabytes, and then you take like a page of, you know, an article or whatever, which is barely any size. How long is it going to take to load? They're claiming that it's going to take the same amount of time to buffer up and load that movie than it would, the same amount of time as it would just to read an article online, which is completely false. That is complete bullshit, complete lies, totally false. What they're saying is the download speed that you pay for should be universal for everything, and that download speed should apply to every single fucking thing. So if you're paying for a download speed that is 50 megabits per second, that 50 megabits per second download speed should apply to everything, whether it be Netflix, whether it be Google, whether it be you're on, you know, whatever website, whatever you're on. That 50 megabit per second speed should apply to everything. It should apply to everything, not just one thing specifically, because that discrimination is extremely dangerous for the consumers, and also it will repel small businesses and further monopolize the current system that we have, because the industry that we have right now, there are so many areas in the United States where people don't even have a second option of where to get their internet. You know, what internet service provider to choose. So, but that's an even later argument, because prior to that, it's not a fair thing for consumers. For consumers to have to pay more for certain things, even though they're paying for the speed that they're getting, is ridiculous. And the other bullshit argument used by the right is that, oh, this was just placed into Obama, I think it was 2013. Well, the internet was fine before 2013. Well, first of all, there were some scandals that were happening before that, but it was just a reclassification of the net neutrality laws, the regulations that we have, because those regulations were put into place, I think, by the Telecommunications Act, and it's just so much disinformation and bullshit coming from the right when it comes to this issue. And again, this really caught me off guard. It really did, because I was sitting on my phone, I got this notification, and I was like, holy fuck, this is crazy. So I'm really excited. I'm ecstatic that this passed the Senate, and I'm really, really hopeful that this will pass through the House as well. But here's what you need to do. If you want to see this pass, we're going to have a list sent out, and we're going to have to call up every single representative in the House, Democrat or Republican. We better get 100% of Democrats voting, but we have to push the Republicans to vote yes on it as well. We need to do this. We need this. This is our fucking chance to be able to get this. And believe me, where there's a will, there's a way. That's cliche, and it's not always true, and I just stated a factually incorrect thing, because it does. Where there's a will, there's not always a way. But let's just say that where there's a will, there's a way. We need to fight for this, because a free and open net is the most important thing. A fair net, by the way, where ISPs can't just have everyone by the ball sack because they're the internet service provider. So again, really exciting stuff. I'm really excited that this happened. Make sure that you call up all the representatives, all the Republican representatives who are unlikely to vote yes on this when it goes to the House, and make sure that keep the Democrats in line, because as we see with the Democrats right now, they're not exactly perfect, but they're definitely better than Republicans when it comes to issues like this. So just make sure to contact, call in, send letters, etc., etc. Call in and just lobby for this, because we are the American people. They're supposed to represent us, so we have to lobby on the behalf of the American people, because we voted them in, and therefore they are supposed to represent us. But they're not. They're representing their donors, which is what they're doing right now. And so, again, the Senate has indeed passed the basically reversal of the FCC's decision, but this is going to have to go to the House. But I'm very hopeful, and I'm hopeful that it will indeed. Pass the House. And I really hope it will. I really fucking hope it will. We have to work really hard to